What's up guys, Andre here, and today I'd like to implement a modal using Vue and Tailwind CSS. We'll also put some effort into making it keyboard accessible like we've been doing in the last components we've built. So we'll be making use of this library here, Vue.js Modal, which is great, it's highly customizable, and it isn't opinionated when it comes to styling. So here is what I built in my sample project, and here's what we'll be building in this video. So if you click login, we get this nice login modal, and it's keyboard accessible. It focus traps, and yeah, we'll work on this. There's also a register one, which isn't styled here, but I'll style it in the final product, and we can jump between them. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So let's install this. Actually, let's change these first to login and register. So I'm just going to change these. So let's change these two to login and register. And we don't have to change this, but let me just do it anyways. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and install this library. Just npm install it here. And let's do that. And while that's going, we can install it here. Just import it in your main.js. Let's do that. Main.js, and we can just put it right here. Just put it here actually. And let's move this down. Cool. And let's see how this works. Let's just get a basic modal showing up. Actually, let me extract a component first. So go back to our app. And I'm going to make a new component here called modal login, and we'll paste this in. So we can do this. And let's go ahead and import this. I mean, it doesn't exist yet, but we'll make it in a second. Modal login. And let's add a modal login. And then let's create it. Modal login.vue, and let's paste in what we copied, and that should still work. Okay, but now we have a component, and now let's see how to use this. So I'm going to copy this. Let's go into our modal login, and there's several ways to, you can put this wherever actually, but I'm going to keep it in this modal login. You can put it in its own modals component if you want, and just stick all your modals you're going to create in that. But like I said, I'll keep it in here. So now we need a wrapping div here. So let's just do div. And let's change this to modal login. Okay. And now we can copy the methods and space that in our script tag. And now here on the anchor tag, we can just do click. Let's do prevent as well. Let's do show. And that should render out this modal right here. Let's see if this works. Log in. And it doesn't work. Oh, sorry, forgot to change this. This is, so let me just select both of them. So modal login, save this. And now this should work. And click login, and there is our modal. Cool. So like I said, this library already has features you'd expect from a modal. So namely, you can click off of it and it disappears, and also you can hit escape and it disappears, and it already has the opacity of the background, so it's dark. So that's great. We don't have to build that ourselves. So like I said, I want this to be a login modal, so I'm going to paste in some form markup here. Again, it's nothing, just to save some time, but there isn't too much going on here. Let me just uncomment this. So it's just a form with several form groups for the different input types. We just have an email, a password, and a keep me signed in checkbox, and a submit button, and some more text for going to other pages. I'm going to remove this password one. Actually, this should be on the outside. Let me cut this and put it outside the form. Cool. And it's going to look like crap, but we'll style it at the end. Okay, so there's our crappy looking form. One thing that we have to implement that the library doesn't do for us is the focus trapping. So right now if I press tab, it does go to the first field, but if I keep tabbing, it goes to the next field outside of the modal. And if I shift tab, it goes to the previous fields. And the keyboard accessible way of implementing modals is to focus trap it. So here's an example here. And it has all the features of accessibility. And here's a button that opens the modal. So let's go to that one. And what it does here is it focus traps it, and it cycles. Shift tab, it goes to the last one. And if you tab on the last one, it goes to the first one. So we'll do something like that. We won't make it cycle, but we'll trap it here at the end, because that's how we've implemented keyboard accessibility for our other components. So yeah, you can read about it here if you want to see, but that's what we'll do. So pretty straightforward. So the first thing we have to do is focus this when the modal opens. So let's do that first. So let's put a ref on the first field. So that would be the email, and it's already there because I pasted it in. Now you would think that you can just focus the ref after you show it, but you can't do it that way. What you have to do is you have to listen for an event that's fired, and that way the component is finished loading. So the event we want to listen for is opened, emits after the modal becomes visible. So that's what we need. And then after that, the ref should be available. So let's go ahead and, oh, it's already there because I pasted it in. So after it's opened, we're going to fire off this opened method here, which we'll create right here. Let me just fix this. I like it like that. Opened. And now all we have to do is focus the ref. So this dot refs dot email dot focus. And let me remove these semicolons. Okay, so now once the modal opens, it should focus it. Click or keyboard, it should work. There it is, cool. Let's try the keyboard. We'll get out here. And there we go, it works. Okay, now let's focus on focus trapping. So shift tab should not do anything when it's on the first field. Or you can make a cycle like I just showed you. And tab on the last field should focus trap it. But now it doesn't do that. So let's go ahead and fix this. So pretty straightforward. All we have to do is add an event listener on the first one and the last one. So here on email, this is the first field. So at keydown.shift.tab. And we want to prevent the default. And that's all. We just do that. And now that shouldn't leave focused when it's on the first field. And we can do the same for the last field. In our case, it's this link over here, because this is a focusable item. So now it's keydown.tab.exact.prevent, and that should do it. So now it should focus trap. So I'm going to just refresh, stab through this, and log in. Now I'm pressing Shift Tab, and it's not going. And I'm pressing Tab on this last one, and it's not going to the next item. So now we have a focused trapped modal. So that's great. Okay, now let's focus on getting another modal showing when we click this. So let's just duplicate this. Again, you can probably have this in one component, but I'm going to make two for now. So I'll just duplicate this Let's call it Modal Register .vue. And let's just change this to Modal Register. And same with these. Register. And let's just change these up so it's register. So this would be register, and we have to change our app view, and we have to import this as well. Let's just change the form first. So email, password. We don't need this field. And this would be a register field. Register button. And this would be already have an account. And you can go to the login. Okay. Save that, and let's change our component here. Let's import Modal Register. Actually, let me do this. Modal Register. Let's duplicate this. Modal Register. And let's import this up here. Modal Register. And I already changed that in the component. Oops. So we should be good. See if this works. See if it shows up. Awesome. Okay, so let's link the two. So for this login one, I am going to change the height of it to slightly bigger. I think default's 400. Let's change it to 440. So the login should be a bit bigger than this one. Let's refresh. Okay, so it is. So we want to go to this modal once we click on this. So let's make a new method for this. Here. Click .prevent equals show register. And let's make a new method here. Show register. And let's just do this. So copy this, paste modal register. So it's refresh, log in, register. So as you can see, it does show up, but we also want to hide the login modal. So easy enough. Let's grab this, paste that in, and that should hide it. And we want something similar in the other component. Let's test this out first. Does it hide? It does, cool. And we want the same thing for register. So we can do the same thing. That's going to be show login. And these two are swapped. Modal login and modal register. And right here, click.prevent equals show login. Cool. Let's see if this works. Login, register, and go back to login. Awesome. And let's check if the register is focus trapped as well. It is. Cool. And email is focused when we first open it. Awesome. Okay, so that's basically it in terms of the functionality. This library is great. It has other options as well. You can style a form, which we'll do right now. But it's pretty dynamic and extendable. So it's great if you want a custom modal. Okay, so now let's spend a few minutes to make it look decent. So I'm just going to do it for login, and you can switch it over to the register component. I'll have the register style too in the final code. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just wrap this and this. These are siblings, but we want one to give the whole thing some padding. So I'm going to give it some px10. And that should be a wrapping div. And let's give it some padding on the y-axis as well. Let's see if that's okay. So that's decent padding. And the first thing I want is just a heading. So it just says login. So let's put that right above the form. Let's give it an H2 and B4, uppercase. Let's make it pretty big. Let's just say login. You can put your logo here as well, but I don't have a logo. Okay, cool. Next, the form doesn't have any styles. The form group just has some margin on the bottom. Cool. And next is the label. So I already have block here. Let's make it font normal, uppercase. Let's make it small. Let's give it a slight margin bottom. Okay, cool. And now the input. Actually, this is too wide by default. I'm gonna switch it to, actually, let me show you another option for this. So by default, it's not responsive. Where'd it go? But if you just pass it this adaptive, where is it? Right here, this adaptive prop, and set it to true, then it will be somewhat responsive, at least on the width. So we can do, let's do it here. Adaptive equals true. And now it will scale in terms of the width. See? So that's good. But I'm going to change the width to something smaller. Sorry. Width equals 400 is what I found to work. And that needs a refresh. Cool. And let's continue with the input. So input, there's a border on it. Let's give it some padding. Let's make it full. Let's make it rounded. Let's give it a slight background to give it some contrast from the form. And that should look good. And it does, cool. So let's do the same for password. So I'm going to grab this. Actually, I'll grab the whole form group and just replace this. And this is only for the first one, so we don't need this. Let's grab all of the emails and change it to password. And this should be capital. And see how that looks. Cool, looking good. And for the keep me signed in, let's style that. Make this a bigger margin. Let's put a class on the label. Say text small, font normal. So I'm doing font normal because it's actually inheriting the uppercase style from here, the parent, somewhere here. Where is it? Yeah, so the entire unordered list is uppercase. So I have to override it in the child. So another way to solve this, if you want the modal to render somewhere else, you can make use of portals, which is another great package, but it's not too much to override the styles here. So that's what I'm doing here. And let's put a class on this. Let's give it a margin. Keep me signed in. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure if this applied. Oh, sorry. SM. There we go. And now let's work on the button. So there's already some styles there. We want it to be with full. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, let's put a hover on it too. So I'm going to do hover. Let's say BG Blue 700. Cool. And let's put a margin bottom on here. MB4. Okay. And now let's style this. So right here, say class equals text, SM, font, normal, text, center. And let's just style the link because it's inheriting from the parent. So let's just make it blue. Text blue 600. Hover text blue 800. And I think that should be good enough. There we go, looking pretty good. And it's responsive. I don't think the browser will go small enough. But it is responsive. And let's check if it's responsive on the y-axis. I don't think it is. So let me just try to resize this. So in reality, no one's going to have their browser this small. But let me show you how to fix this if you want a scroll bar here. So you can't scroll right now because it's only scrolling the background and not the modal. So to fix that, if you inspect it, you actually put a overflow Y scroll or auto on this, and you can actually override this in the modal library, which I'll show you in a second. Let me just try to get the correct, it's this one. So if you put an overflow Y auto, there's a scroll bar if it's needed. And if it's not needed, then it won't show up. So let me show you how to override some styles here. V-modal. So right here, you can use this prop and add any classes you want. If you don't add any classes, then it will add this one by default. So you can just add this to your styles, and then it will do whatever you want it to do. So let's do this in our main CSS. So unfortunately, you can't just do an inline style here. That's all I want to do, actually. I mean, at least I tried and it didn't work. I had to put important on it. So I had to go in my actual CSS here and just override it here. So vmodal overflow y auto, and I have to do important too. Okay, let's see if this works. And like I said, you can do this with anything. Like if you want to change the opacity or the darkness of the background, you can use this to change that. So let's see now. Does this work? Sorry, it's just hard to get the bottom. And it does, cool. In the background, you can scroll the background or you can scroll the modal. Awesome. And check if everything still works. It does. Register, I'll style this in the final code, but yeah, everything's looking like it works. And we have ourselves a good looking modal that is keyboard accessible. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.